Welcome back to the Dark Vault. Today, we open a file that is not a myth, nor a piece of internet fiction. This is a documented phenomenon known across North America as the Black-Eyed Children. In the winter of 1998, a journalist named Brian Bethel was sitting in his parked car outside a movie theater in Abilene, Texas, using the dashboard light to write a story. It was past midnight and the streets were completely deserted. Suddenly, a soft, rhythmic tapping on his driver's side window broke the silence. Brian looked up, expecting a security guard or a stranded driver. Instead, standing right outside his door were two young boys, around 10 to 12 years old, wearing dark, oversized hoodies. The moment Brian rolled his window down just an inch, an overwhelming wave of primal, unexplainable fear hit his chest. His instinct screamed at him to put the car in drive and flee. The older boy spoke. His voice was flat, mechanical, and completely devoid of any childish innocence. He said, "Hey, mister, we have a problem. We wanted to see the movie, but we left our money at our house. Can you give us a ride? Just let us into your car." Brian stared at them, paralyzed. He noticed that despite the freezing Texas winter wind, the boys weren't shivering. They stood perfectly still, like statues. Brian tried to make an excuse, saying he didn't have room. The boy's tone suddenly changed, becoming deeper and more demanding. "It won't take long. We don't have a gun. Just let us in." That's when the street light directly above the car flickered. In that brief flash of light, the boy's hood shifted back. Brian's heart stopped. The children didn't have normal eyes. Their eyes were solid, pitch black voids. No whites, no irises, no pupils. Just two empty sockets of pure, endless darkness staring into his soul. Brian's hand shook violently as he reached for the gear shift. Seeing him panic, the boy's polite act completely vanished. The younger one began to pull at the car's door handle, spinning it mechanically, while the older boy slammed his open palms against the glass. The sound of their hands hitting the window was heavy, solid, and unnaturally loud. "Our parents will be here soon," the boy shouted, his voice losing all human inflection. "We can't come in unless you invite us. Let us in." Brian realized then that the entities had a rule, a sinister, ancient limitation. They couldn't force their way inside a space without permission. They needed the victim to willingly open the door. The air inside Brian's car grew suffocatingly cold, and the smell of ozone and burning electricity filled the dashboard vents as the black-eyed things continued to batter the glass.
Surviving on pure adrenaline, Brian slammed his foot onto the gas pedal. The tires screeched against the empty asphalt as the car launched backward out of the parking space. He flipped the wheel, put the car in drive, and tore out onto the main highway, not looking back until he was miles away from the theater. When he finally gathered the courage to look at his rearview mirror, the parking lot was completely empty. The children hadn't run away. They had simply vanished into thin air within seconds. Brian drove straight home, locked every entrance to his house, and sat up until sunrise with a shotgun in his lap. He thought he was safe, but the psychological trauma of those solid black eyes would haunt him for decades. He eventually published his account online, thinking it was an isolated incident. He had no idea his story would unlock a floodgate of identical reports from across the world. Following Brian's report in 1998, hundreds of similar cases began to emerge from the shadows. From lonely country roads in England to quiet suburban neighborhoods in Ohio, the pattern was always identical. Two children, always between the ages of 10 and 14, always asking for permission to enter a car or a house, claiming they are lost, cold, or need to use the phone. In every single encounter, witnesses describe an overwhelming, unnatural feeling of dread before even seeing their faces. Paranormal investigators and researchers believe these entities are not ghosts, but predatory entities or demonic forces that use the innocent appearance of children to bypass our defenses. Those who refuse to let them in survive to tell the story. But the terrifying question remains, what happens to the ones who felt sorry for the kids and opened the door?
Real horror doesn't hide in the movies, it walks our streets at midnight. If this true encounter sent a shiver down your spine, smash that like button, subscribe to the Dark Vault, and tell me in the comments, have you ever encountered something that didn't look quite human? If you ever hear a soft knock on your door late at night and see two kids standing in the dark, look closely at their eyes before you turn the lock. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and never invite the dark inside. Good night.